I don't even know what that's streaming. What that's streaming about? Is now there's two streams? Is there? This is ridiculous. I don't know what's going on anymore. I don't know. I think I might be streaming on another. I don't know where I'm streaming. What? I don't know what that is now. This might be a computer or a laptop. Could be anything between the two. There might be two streams going on at the same time. I don't think this is working at all. I am seeing some text coming up on the screen though, the same from this one. I don't know where that one's gone. This one doesn't seem to want to stream from two cameras. I'm streaming from a laptop as well. Bollocks. Just a big long lag though. Yeah, okay, it's working. Thanks, Marcus. That's good. Is it looking good? Right. Well, it seems to be streaming from my laptop now instead of from my phone, which is where it should be streaming from, which is probably not a good idea. Marcus Hogan has asked, do I watch Harry's Garage? Yes, I do watch Harry's Garage. My God, now I'm streaming from two devices. Now I don't understand what's going on at all. Anyway, I have watched a little bit of Harry's Garage. Yeah, he used to do Evo magazine. It's pretty good, actually. The problem is he's not really. He is reviewing cars, but he's not really reviewing cars. You know, it's a slightly different aspect of things. I don't know what that one is now. See, now there's two streams. I don't know who's in what stream anymore. So I have to cancel that one maybe. Get rid of this one off the laptop, off the phone, and just leave it at this one. Can you all hear me on this one? Yeah. Stream from two devices. Screw the rules. Rules are for people who don't know what to do with them. I don't know what happened to the phone. It was working fine. It always worked fine. Never had a problem with it before until today. Now suddenly there's a problem. So what's the audio like on this? Because I'm just using a laptop. It's just wide open laptop audio. So I don't know what kind of audio you're going to get out of it. Right, well I cancelled one. I closed one out completely. So I can't. I don't want to see that anymore. My stream health. I've never streamed this way before off a laptop. Bam. Audio good. Good. Glad. It's working. And it's coming straight from a laptop. Why didn't I think of this before? It's an Apple MacBook Pro, but it's pretty old. It's an older one, so it's starting to whine at me now as if there's something, as if I'm eating, heat coming out of it. I can actually editing a video on the other one. That's what I was actually trying to do. But I'll get back to that in a while, I suppose. Right, we should be cancelled out the other one. It should be on this one. So I do apologise. This is completely out of my my technical ability, I should say. But we're here. We are live, so we're doing okay. It is working. So far, so good. So a few of you were asking about Sinead McCann. It is coming back. There is plans for another big video, rather big video, coming very soon. We're going to Donegal, I think, to do a very special once-off video. So that will actually have a crew with us. Everybody seemed to like the two people doing the video, so we're going to do that. Any chance to include night driving bits in my review? What are you going to watch at night time though? I mean, what are you going to look at? Nighttime, like dark headlights. I did in there's a couple of videos I've done. 7 Series video has night driving in it. I can't remember what else it was, but it's very little to see at night time, so I don't really do night time. Are you in Galway often? My brother-in-law and his family lives in Galway, so I do go down to Galway sometimes. Yes. I don't believe that this one's after quitting now as well, is it? Couldn't have. No, sorry. I took it out to Galway once every couple of weeks, I suppose, thereabouts. Adaptive lights, yeah, it's very hard to record them, unfortunately. I'd love to do it, but you need a goddamn big sensor in a camera to kind of get that at nighttime. It's pretty difficult in that respect, because if you don't have that big sensor, it just gives this kind of hazy look to the background, so it looks terrible. So I don't really do that too much. Now it looks like it's gone grainy to me. This is going to be a difficult live streaming today. The screen looks like it's gone grainy. It seems to be lagging behind as well. It's coming back though, I hope. I can actually type as well, which is gas. Yeah, it's getting there. But I could try, alright, to get rid of that cable out of the way over the top of that. That'll do. Then I can type as well. I do have a fantastically big connection in the house, and it seems to be rough. It's very hard. The problem is, Marcus, that YouTube don't give you a lot of information about what's wrong. Like today, they said, I tried to set up a thing and then a stream, and they demonetized it instantly. And you're going, what should I monetize it for? And they go, well, we look at your title and your pictures and make sure there's nothing wrong with them. They go, there's nothing wrong with them. It's like that every week. And still, they demonetize it. So I had to quit that one and start this one. And this one's been a problem as well, because the phone just cut out in the middle of it. And now we're starting to get a little bit laggy here too. 6 minutes, 10 watching, good stuff. Click the like button. I know it's been a bit confusing today, but we'll get back at it. A little bit of housekeeping as well for next week. Next week I have a half marathon to do. It's the gingerbread run, it's called. It's on in Portarlington at 12 o'clock, I think it's on it. So it's a half marathon. It's 21.5 kilometers or so is what a half marathon is. So that'll take over the 2 hours. So there probably won't be a Sunday service next week. We might do it on Saturday or Friday or something, or one of the evenings, maybe an evening Sunday service one of the weeks. Because I don't think I'll be fit to walk after running a half marathon next week, so I'll stay out of that as much bad. 480p, yeah, I was thinking it was, Colin, because it's only a laptop with just a little webcam thing attached to it. I normally use my phone, which is set up here with cables and wires and mics and everything sticking out of it, but it's just not operational today, so I can't do much about it, unfortunately. Otherwise I would try to, but we'll struggle through for a little bit anyway. We'll struggle through. Still, it's great to have you here watching the Sunday service. A good few of you watching now. Don't forget to click the like button. I can't see the normal things that I would normally see. So that's my normal connection that I would do there. It's starting to rise. I got analytics and things. This is all brilliant, but you know what? It's absolutely useless if I can't bleed and chat though. 480p is nice enough for chat. Yeah, it's fine. It'll do. I prefer a higher quality camera look to things as much as I possibly can. The lighting and the background, everything has to be changed. So it's a difficult thing, but we'll struggle on for another little while. So it's only 14 now. See, it's been very confusing. That's why there's few on today. Last week was the biggest week I'd ever done on the Sunday service. So many people came last week and watched live. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Really enjoyed that. But this week seems to be problematic, and I don't know why. Right. Other stuff's coming up. Let me see. Next week, I think I have the Range Rover VLR for the week. So if anybody wants to see that, you can come and check it out. I'm on the radio next week as well. I'm going down to Middlesbrough to do my Sunday service, to do my my All Revved Up. It's called. It's Ireland's, I think, nearly only dedicated car show. Tesla actually just asked there, CBix. Are you looking forward to new EVs from VW or Tesla or other? I am, yeah, to some degree. VW will be a while yet. They've just released the second version, or 7.5 version of the Volkswagen e-Golf, which I've driven the e-Golf. Very good, great car. Deadly if you're just wanting to get around town. You don't want to be shouty about being an EV. You just want to have a Golf. That's good. Tesla are releasing the Model 3. And I was at the Irish Car of the Year Awards last Thursday night. I presented big chunks of it last Thursday night. It was really hugely successful night. Very happy with that. The Tesla were at that as well, and they said they're going to provide me with a car to drive around for a longer drive, for a longer test, so I can get used to the whole idea of having a proper test of the Tesla, because the biggest test we've had so far in Ireland has been just kind of driving it around for the whole day, which is lovely. You should shut down everything that isn't streaming on the laptop and shrink down the video window. I have it all as tight as I can possibly make it. There's nothing else running apart from just we'll cut out of iTunes as well because that was open because I plugged in my phone, obviously. Close the speed test there, close email there, and that's the best I can do is turn it all the way down. The lag behind is terrible, but we're getting there. Hopefully Tesla will give me a Model X to drive. I'm really interested in that. It's very expensive, but I'd love to have a proper go of it. I think the Model S is really good, but it's like 5-year-old technology at this stage. Or not technology, but the car itself is like the design is about 5 years old. Hi Bob, your thoughts on Renault Capture second-hand wife obsessed with getting one? I think rapid spaceback. Good value to be had for Capture. They are very common out there, so you will get them quite a lot. But check out, let me see what else is out there around that kind of. There's a lot of these new ones now. Capture was nearly first in the market of those kind of BSUVs, small SUV cars, and it's a really good little car. But there's a lot of competition coming into that segment. So if you're looking in that sort of area right now, you know, you've got the Kia Stonic, you've got Citroen are bringing out the Aircross yoke. Everybody's got one of those BSUVs coming. So before you go running at that one, Adrian, have a look around. But it's a great car. Really happy. I'd be really happy with it, I have to say. Sorry, I'm just having a look here at about. What am I looking at? Activity monitor. Right, I have a look at activity monitor. See if there's anything used besides Chrome. Chrome is really hard on laptops. I don't think so. No, I don't think there's anything much happening on my laptop other than that. I'm going to force quit the crack. Right, close that. Messages, close that. Yeah, just close. No, just Google and OBS is running at the moment. OBS actually doing the stream for me. Funny enough. Hi Bob, van, new Volkswagen Crafter or wait for the Sprinter from Merc? Can't find any info on the new Merc date. Hope you're well, kiddo. I am well, Trevor. Not a bother. My stream is not very well, but everything else is well. So click the like button while you're here for a start. New Volkswagen Crafter is an amazingly capable vehicle. I have to say, I'm not a big van person, but I've sat, the other journalists around, I've sat into those good few times and they are an amazingly sized thing. The Sprinter was always the biggest and used to be the most comfortable, but Volkswagen now pay a lot of attention to driver comfort. So I'd have no problem recommending a Volkswagen Sprinter right now, or Crafter right now. The Merc Sprinter would probably be better value older, I have to say, because they were an absolutely giant yoke, but the Crafter now is huge. So I wouldn't wait around for a new Merc to come out. Merc used to be very good, and they're the first one to bring in side wind assist. So when the wind hits the big flat side of a big white van, the problem was it just walks straight into a wall somewhere. But they've actually got this system where the ABS cuts in and does its job there too. So it's clever tech, but it's always going to be a bloody option in this country. So don't wait for it. Go for the Volkswagen Crafter. Get in touch with Volkswagen Commercials Ireland. They're a great bunch of guys actually. Not many petrol Capture around though. All these is correct, Agent. That would be a big problem for me as well, is that if you can't get a second-hand petrol Capture, you're not really future-proofing yourself, because the older ones would be EU5, I think they were, or EU4 even maybe. Did you watch the match last night? I didn't, Derek. I don't really, I'm not a football or sports kind of person actually, for that matter. It's lovely when Ireland are playing. I turned out to be a 0-0 draw, I know that, but I seen that from Twitter. I wasn't really working. Will you review the T-Rock anytime soon? I have not booked in a T-Rock for a press test yet. I don't see it on my list. Possibly it is there and available, and I'm not on that high up list out there. I'll get in touch with Volkswagen and get a T-Rock. I don't know if I have any space between now and Christmas to drive it, to be honest with you. I have so many cars booked in. Look at Skoda Yetis. Yeah, Yetis are actually pretty good value for money, in fairness. That's something that's going to be gone. There's not many left in Ireland, though. It's going now. It's going to be the Skoda Karoq. Missed out on the spin in E60 M5 yesterday. What? Why did you miss out on the spin in that, Aaron? What were you doing? What were you doing? What were you doing that was more important than driving an E60 M5? Or even a passenger seat drive of it yesterday. You should be should be ashamed of yourself. It's just not good enough. 2014 Crosswind says, good man. 20 came in on Sprinters as standard. Absolutely hit it. One big gust and an over accelerator braking and steering passenger. I did not know that. I haven't really like I say, Andy, I'm not really a van type person. I just had a fella called Jerry Murphy. He does the Galway. He's from Galway. He does a lot of commercial stuff. He was telling me about the side assist. I thought it was very interesting. I thought it sounded interesting in some of the 40-foot trucks. I always get terrified with 40-foot trucks when you're overtaking them, and I always wait for that wheel to explode beside you. T-Rock would be nice as Armour Kraut. Yeah, it would be actually. I quite like the look of the T-Rock. I just don't know whether it's been pushed in a way that works. Anyway, hi Bob, driving for an i8 for the first time next week. So excited. Hope your skinny tires don't ruin the drive. i8 is one of my all-time favourite cars, but it had a very short lifespan. And it's now starting to even look a little bit old. And I know that sounds weird, but it didn't age so well. And I know it really set a trend. I remember the first time I brought it home, I didn't get off the M50, but people were driving in front of me trying to take pictures of the thing and pulling over for or driving. Don't make that mistake. It is a supercar, but it is still a 1.5 litre petrol with the battery backup. Turn it into sport mode. Leave it in sport mode, Marcus. You'll have a ball with it. Don't worry about skinny tyres or handling or anything else. Just enjoy the experience of driving what is in the future. It is fun, but a big old fat Ferrari or Lamborghini is more fun, in fairness. Craig Russell. Hi Bob. Do you know much detail about the diesel coming to the new Civic? Is this the diesel petrol hybrid thing that they're talking about? Not really. It seems very confused and conflustered as to what they're doing. Honda are a very strange company. They do so many things absolutely brilliantly, and then they get other things really badly wrong, like the look of the current Honda Civic. I'm not into that look at all. It's just not doing it for me. The Type R looks well, but that's the ordinary Civic looks like a spaceship or something. It looks like it's been drawn by 10 people. I am well, David. I hope you are well as well. That's good. I'd like to see the new stuff coming from Honda, but it's hard to work it out. New Stelvio. I have driven the new Stelvio, George Falls. It was at the press refresh day for Irish Car of the Year. It is coming on press fleets sometime soon. It's like a sporty Jaguar. That's what it feels like to me. It was good, really good, but very sporty. It feels like a sports car when you're driving around corners. That doesn't quite work out for a 4x4. Shamrock says, would it be a wise decision to get a diesel that's left in stock that dealership can't shift while the Irish government is still behind the ball? Ooh, that's a really tough question because no one knows what the Irish government is going to do. I don't think the Irish government knows what the Irish government is doing, generally speaking. It would be, if you can get it cheap enough, yes, I would say, yeah, if you can get a deal on a diesel, that's good. As long as EU5 or EU6 come up a bit, don't go up kind of going back EU4 or something. Get something that's very current and you're getting a fairly clean diesel anyway. It won't take long for the government to catch up once they figure out they don't have to lose a lot of tax. It's always going to be tax that holds them back. So Shamrock 1693, I hope you weren't born then, you're very old. It'd be worth your while doing it, yeah. Stelvio QF, all those horsepowers. Yeah, I know, yeah, that's the ones with there as well. Hello Bob, Astra GTC CDTI or 1.4 petrol turbo. Buy the 1.4 petrol turbo. The GTC CDTI is not only just a mouthful, it is a very dull engine. Unless you're going to do a giant amount of mileage, buy the 1.4 petrol turbo. That's actually a really good engine, 1.4 petrol turbo. Probably doesn't need a turbo. Bob, watching on the phone, trying to watch on iPad, it's not working. Says live stream is offline, even after restart a YouTube app. I have no idea what's going on, Colin. You should try it in this end. I've never streamed like this before. I have the most complicated looking desktop I've ever seen in my life at the moment. Are you a watchman, Bob? I am most of the time. Hoping to get a tag cure for my 21st in March. Most expensive watch I've ever had is worth a tenner. The most expensive watch I ever had, I'm wearing it. It's a Garmin watch, and I broke it. Well, it's not broken completely, but I broke it. Tag Heuer, very nice watch. Actually, I do like Tag Heuer. Some of them are really good. I'd love to have Omega or something, but you're talking about 20 grand there for a decent joke, or at least 3.5, I suppose. Bob, what's your opinion on windy down windows? Am I right in saying there's new Micra has rear windy down windows? Even top of the range model seems a bit crazy in 2017. Derek, you are absolutely right. It is a miserable state of affair. My kids love it though. My kids actually like that windy thing, only because it's unusual, because most cars have electric windows. It is, but any inch of saving of money that any car company can do in a small city car, they will do. And those cars are actually designed for single young couples or something. It's not really designed as a family vehicle, even though they're big enough to deal with that. it's a pain in the ass. But you know, if they can make them cheaper, I'm with them. If I don't know how a windy, complicated cog system is any cheaper than putting in an electric motor, but it must be, or they wouldn't have done it. David Thompson says, Bob, have you driven the 1.5 turbo Civic engined car? Yes, I have driven the 1.5. It is much better than the CVT version of it, which is the bigger engine is boring. 1.5 turbo is a very nice little engine. The car, it's lovely. The car is lovely inside. Great amount of kit. Great amount of. It got an award the other night for the most amount of safety kit as standard in the car. So I'm 100% behind the Civic in that respect. Just to look at the thing puts me a little bit off it. Mr. Blaine says, smash that like button. You're absolutely right. Smash the like button. Do that. You don't have to smash your screen doing it or anything. Just, you know, click it in a civil way. Hi Bob, RE dash cams and the discussion last week. It seems a bit of research on Googly that the footage is legal and usable in court only when, I'll tell you Brian, you're absolutely right, if the judge has to allow it case by case. So it's not... evidentially, generally what happens is you expose all your evidence for something that's happening, something that's coming up. But in the case of footage, you bring it with you and you go, Judge, I'd like to show you the footage of the crash, and the judge will go yes or no. So it's a different story, a slightly different way, but it is legal if it's admissible. It has to be admissible up front, and you'll have to discuss it with a solicitor before you can do it. So my point last week was, don't rely on just having a dash cam that allows you to do whatever you want to do on the road, and then something happens and you think you're going to be totally protected by the dash cam. It could work against you as quickly as work for you. In the same event, if you crashed into someone and they see you've got a dash cam, they can get the footage from you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Would trade in for against Peugeot 307 SW, good car, 307 SW like that. Was looking at the i30 estate. Alright, it's his birthday. Peugeot 307 SW would be the nicer of those two. I know it may seem like an odd choice, but the i30 is really, it's a nice, i30 is nice, but the 307 is just a nicer car. Fast Ford STs reviewed in the line. When Ford put them on, I will review them as always, but Ford has to put them on first, and I will. But in the meantime, you can look at Ford Focus RS review, which is on my channel already. A Polo GTI review would be good. A Polo GTI is on the way and will be coming to Ireland and will be available in your dealership. I was talking to the marketing department the other night at Irish Guard Year. There will be a GTI. New A8 impressions. A8 is always impressive, and the Audi A8 seems to put more options in their car as standard than a Mercedes S-Class. Tech is absolutely on point with A8, way ahead of what Mercedes used to do. Once upon a time, the Mercedes S-Class used to be 10 years ahead of everybody else. Now it's all even playing field at the moment. It really is. A8 is the cool version. The S-Class is still sort of an old man's car. But I'd love to see... I will have an A8, definitely. It's going to be next year before I get a go of it now, but it will be coming up, and there will be some sort of a launch between now and then as well, you know, an Irish launch of it. Regarding watches, look at Sinn, S-I-N-N. It's a well-respected German company, small niche company, great pieces. There are some absolutely phenomenal small makers out there who don't charge a fortune for the watches and for the timepieces in general, and they're definitely worth a look. Sinn might be one of them. I haven't heard of them before, but Sinn might be one of them. But there's another couple of Swedish ones and a couple of Swiss ones who do the Swiss movement as well. I love Swiss movement. It's lovely to watch that thing just go around. Brilliant. So many of you watching us. It's great. Thank you all for dropping in. I know there was an awful mess with the streams earlier on, out of my control. Nothing to do with me. But click the like button. Make sure that everybody gets a notification that this is happening. Speaking of windy up windows, this is a great phrase. That's a very Irish phrase, I think. Windy windows. Do you already have a test drive booked for the new A7? No, I don't have A7 booked in. I don't think it was launched here yet, but it is on the way. I'm sure I'll get a test of it eventually. Had the pleasure of driving a Ford Focus RS recently. The engine was sharp and the four-wheel drive system was very clever, but the ride was too hard and the car too heavy. Very thrilling, wouldn't want the daily drive. God, I would buy that car in a heartbeat, I have to say. I love the Ford Focus RS thing. It's a gorgeous car. I bought a Casio Edifice watch. Beautiful watch. Beautiful watch. That is really nice. For a little Japanese company. I know they're massive and they make innards for all sorts of other companies. But Casio, I have a G-Shock hovering around there somewhere. Don't know where it is. I love G-Shock stuff. The Edifice stuff is absolutely gorgeous. I just wish to make the face ever so slightly bigger on my wrist. It just looks a bit small. Hello, Bob. Is the Mondeo or the Insignia most popular rep car in Ireland? They'd be pretty much in between the two. The Insignia is pretty popular. The Mondeo is dropping away. The Passat is probably the most popular of the sales rep type cars, or 3-box saloons, I would call them now, which have a bonnet, middle, and boot. So 3-box saloon. So probably the most popular would be the Passat, probably followed by the Insignia and then the Mondeo after that. Insignia is a good car, but tight in the boot. Don't like that lip thing that happens in the boot. You can't put things in there. The boot is a bit of a mess. Mondeo is the biggest boot, I think. Physically, it looks the biggest boot. But the Passat is by far the most stylish of the lot. Andy McAfee says, in Great Britain, some regional police forces are now accepting submissions of footage online directly for them for consideration to prosecute. Northern Ireland drivers had a few prosecutions for footage. The trend may filter over. It might, Andy. The trouble with dash cams is it's very one-sided. I know it's an unblinking eye and it's a camera and it does its thing. The problem is it doesn't give any more context. So unless it's a proper registered camera that records the kind of trajectory, G-forces involved, the braking distance. Like if I went out and filmed with a GoPro and a truck got near me, it would look very far away on the GoPro because of the bold cam. It's the same with those dash cams. So it can be very hard to do. I'd like to see dash cams more involved, but I don't want us to turn into communist Russia where you have this idea that a dash cam has to be in there 24 hours a day because it's legally entitled to be. I don't want that either. That means that will completely take the fun out of driving, because the first thing a guard will do when they pull you over for speeding is ask to see your footage. And your footage will just hang you. Adrian says, how's the running going, Bob? Brilliantly, Adrian. I have a half marathon to do next Sunday, so I might not be on here for the Sunday service. It's on at 12 o'clock over in Portarlington, which means a half marathon is going to take me at least 2 hours. And I did a 8.5k this morning. If you check me out, I'm actually on Instagram. If anyone wants to follow me directly on Instagram, I do live stories there quite regularly. And I did one this morning from running, so you can check it out there. Bob Flavin on Instagram, Bob Flavin on Twitter as well. I am on Facebook, but I hate Facebook with a vengeance. I think it's a place that should just go and die. Speaking of windy up windows, I bet there's many Renault Megane owner who wishes their cars had windy up windows. At least they might have worked. That would be an older one from Brian Cullen, but you're right. The older cars with windy windows. I remember windy windows just falling down. The glasses just fall inside the door. not Renault, just everybody. Peter Handley Motors has come on. That must be a dealership. Hi Bob, did you check out the Hyundai Kona yet? I haven't. I am booked in for the Hyundai Kona. There is an Irish launch, I think. Hyundai Ireland have booked in for a Kona before Christmas, so I will be driving a Kona before Christmas. If it's anything even close to the way that the Kia, what's that Kia called, a Stonic, is like, it'll be a good car. Will you go to Phoenix, Arizona to test a passenger Google Waymo self-driving car? If Google fly me to Phoenix, Arizona, I will certainly go over to Phoenix, Arizona and test that, and anybody wants. No problem at all. Get in touch. Usual contact details. I'm sure Google knows exactly how to contact me. Hello, Bob. What happened to your vlogs? One where you go and swap cars. I really enjoyed those. They were just too much effort, Prince Stephen. You're a prince. You could fund me making vlogs. No. Vlogs were good. They were good crack as it was, but they've always got a shelf life. So I only did them at the time because a guy challenged me to do 14 days or 7 days or something of video every single day. And at the time, vlogs were on the growth, and I thought that's a good way of doing it. It's just, shoot your day. And it ended up being a bit of fun, and I like doing them as well. But there's a gigantic, horrendous amount of work in trying to do that, film a car, make a normal car review, do a live stream of the weekend. It's like a 7-day-a-week thing. So Prince Stephen, if you'd like to have a regular vlogs, you could go over to patreon.com and sponsor this channel. And if the sponsorship is enough, I'll do maybe once a week vlogs or something, a bit of way out, I suppose. Bob, what is more money efficient, Passat or Superb? I think Passat is better quality, but Superb is more space and practicality. But I think you're bang on pretty much there. The Passat will be slightly higher quality, not by much though. It's good. Superb will be very high quality as well. Passat will be slightly more involving drive. The Superb is bigger in basically every direction because they have a gigantic boot on the back. The Passat looks a bit better. The more money efficient, they're going to be about the same. When it comes to The engine's going to be basically the same, the horsepower is going to be basically the same, the gearbox is the same. So the efficiency-wise, the Passat and Superb are probably around the same price, although you probably will get more kit in the Superb than the Passat. Superb has no LEDs according to Powell there. Passat does have them. Deficient HID better than some full LEDs. Correct. The older kind of halogen yellow lights that you see when people are driving on the road, that's the older lights. Those newer ones now where you have the HID compliant ones, high intensity something or other, that is. They're very good. Very, very good. I do like them. They do blind people. There is newer LED versions of them again, which are slightly different. So you've got all kinds of money light things that are going on. But the more you spend, the more you get, obviously. Don't forget, you can do super chat on this channel. If you wish to donate to this channel instantaneously, you can just click the super chat button down below. It is enabled now all of a sudden for Ireland, which is very good. You can click the Patreon link. It's in the description down the bottom, and you can go along there and give monthly money. You can go to paypal.com and give the email address bobflav@thenextgear.com, and you can give a single donation there in one shot. All goes into trying to make this the biggest channel in Ireland that it is at the moment, but I'm the only one not funded. So all the other channels, video channels that are in Ireland, are full-time businesses. I'm not. Brian Cole says, Passat better quality. Debatable. You're right, it is debatable, Brian. It would be, some of the materials used in Passat would be slightly higher quality than the way Skoda do, but Skoda do the Simply Clever incredibly well. So I would be a fan of Skoda, I have to say. I think Skoda is one of the only car companies that hasn't got a duffer in the list there somewhere. Turns out a friend of mine is a relative of the lad who bought a Veyron back here in 2009. Forgot his name. Thinks he keeps it in Spain. He used to keep it in Ireland. Now it's in Spain. Although I saw a Veyron down in Cork recently. I just parked. I can't remember who was driving it though. Fully LED without washers mean low output under 200 LM, whatever that means. So need to take marketing wording with a grain of salt. AFS, HID, rock. Yeah, true. Hi Bob, 5-year-old Auris or Mazda 3? Any view? 5-year-old. Auris is ultimately unrewarding to drive, but is very simple, so very little goes wrong with them because there's not a whole lot in them to begin with. Mazda 3 is slightly more complicated but a much better drive. I would have a preference, because you're going 5 years old, I would go with the Mazda, just because it's a little bit tidier looking and will probably have a decent petrol engine. They're very good at gasoline engines. Auris will be treated fairly rough, so I would go Mazda. That's a tight view though, Colin. I'm still going Mazda though. Bob, I know a driving instructor who might be interested in hooking up. He's based in Carlow. Brian, you tell him to get in touch with me, bobflav@thenextgear.com, and I'll certainly go and take a driving test or whatever it is. We'll come to some arrangement between the two. If he doesn't mind going on camera, obviously. I want to put a camera in the car while we're getting the test done. You know, it's a Skoda. I can't speak. I'm sorry. I'll have to put my dentures back in properly with some glue. It's specially budget designed VW, but it's more practical features. Yeah, there is usually more practical features in a Skoda, in fairness. Passat tend to do just absolutely straight up and down good cars. But they are, if you were to put a Passat, a Skoda, Seat, whatever their version is, and an Audi sitting beside each other and got from one to the other, you'd struggle to tell the difference in the quality of materials. Audi would have slightly better quality materials, but most of the electronic stuff would be better. Type of headlight would not be a deal breaker for me. The whole package is important. Yeah, think about the package. Don't tend to focus too hard on whether you're going to get headlights or LEDs or HIDs or whatever it is. But during the winter months, there is nothing like having big bright headlights out in front of you. I currently have the Volvo XC60 outside the front door, and it's got those LED automatic headlights, and they saved my ass the other night when I was driving home on the motorway, and a deer went across the motorway like a shot. I probably wouldn't have hit it, but I've seen it from a long way off because of those headlights, and that was like 3 o'clock in the morning, I think. 2 o'clock maybe, after the car deer wars anyway. I'm starting to sound a little bit unbelievable, but a bit of a liar with all my stories. Please remember that I drive an 07 Suzuki Swift. That's not wrong with an 07 Suzuki Swift. I like them cars. Bob, in Poland, Octavia is the most popular private and fleet car since 2000. It's a king of practicality, I think. Simply clever philosophy. And in fairness to Skoda, every time I meet someone, even internationally from Skoda, they say, but we always start with simply clever. That's where they really do start there, and that's what they're at every time. So I don't blame them to some degree. They're a really cool company. If you have a wild idea, like I do sometimes for videos, and you go to Skoda and you go, I have this crazy idea. They go, yeah, sure, let's do it. Are you a taxi driver, Paul? You were asked there in Poland. I don't think he's a taxi driver. It doesn't matter, but he's not. More reviews for yourself and Sinead McCann coming up. Yes, there is, Peter Handy Motors. There will be, certainly. We have one that's in planning, and I think will go ahead, but it involves us going to Donegal to do that. We have to go to this gigantic off-road course. But we also have another more kind of standard one planned, which would be the two of us again. We weren't quite expecting the reaction that we got from not just the general public, but the car industry in general when the two of us did one video. That was just, we weren't expecting that. Now it's become much bigger than we thought it was going to be. But it's a question of time now. She's getting married next year. All sorts of things are happening. So we have a lot on at the moment. And she has a full-time job, and I do this channel and do reviews for multiple outlets. So it's a question of getting the two of us together on the same day in the same place with a car and a plan. And she likes to make sure that there's facts and figures attached. Hey Bob, I just bought the new Peugeot 5008 SUV. Any chance to review soon? I am on Monday going to Peugeot headquarters to drive the 5008. I have driven it on the refresh day for Irish Car of the Year as well. Seems really practical. Seems just like a big 3008. Really like the idea behind it. Plenty of room, plenty of cleverness in the boot, plenty of easy stuff up and down with the back seats. Seems pretty straightforward. But once I get it as the proper kind of press run, I'll make sure that you get a review there, Mike. Honda Accord Type S 180 thought. Honda Accord. Is there a Honda Accord? Yeah. Honda Accords have always been pretty good, but Honda don't do the big saloons very well. It was the best car that they made at the time, and they've kind of stopped doing it here. So if you're still going to get one, it'll be old. So I don't know. You'll have to check it out. The gasoline engines are pretty good. Don't go diesel. I used to drive a 2003 Passat, and the times that people tried to get thinking was a taxi. Yeah, I used to have, years ago I used to have a 1997 Toyota Carina. Just an own private car, 1.6 petrol. I loved the thing. I used to service it myself. I used to look at it, but I could park nowhere. Anywhere. I could go anywhere on a Saturday night and be full of people. I remember picking up my then girlfriend from a nightclub one night after she'd been out with her works due, and I parked outside the nightclub, and the amount of people just walked up and got into the back of the car. Oh, I want to go home there, please. It was funny, but I actually loved that car. It was a great car. Boring as all hell, but I love that car. Crisps, salt and vinegar, cheese and onion. Salt and vinegar, Andy. Cheese and onion, no. Salt and vinegar. Has to be something a little bit spicy. And you know what's here's a deadly thing to do. Buy a packet of salt and vinegar crisps. Not Pringles now. Buy crisps. Or you can go to Aldi and buy their tube of things that looks like Pringles but are really cheap. Put them in a bowl, get some chili flakes and put them over the top of them. You'll thank me later. If you into the chili idea, you could also have a little bit of sour cream on the side. Bob, insurance up 25% again for me recently. It was expected to be lower slightly. Turns out because there were 4 cars taken on the road in one night a few months ago. Premiums went up. Whoa, my God, that's tragic, Brian. It is really, it's an awful pain. The insurance company is not being held to question in this country by anyone. They won't answer questions from journalists. They just give the usual sort of runabout. Unfortunately, they keep their books entirely closed as to how they're coming to these figures and these numbers. Best advice I can give you is definitely shop around. Don't be afraid of shopping around and shop around again. It is a pain in the hole, but lift the phone, make your notes, go back to the 80s, go back to the 90s when we didn't have the internet to do these price comparison sites. Price comparison sites generally sell you the insurance that is giving them the best discount where they can make the most amount of money, but it is a pain in the ass. And I know my insurance has gone up as well. Everyone's insurance has gone up across the board, but it doesn't help when you're trying to just save a few pounds here and there. I'm sales rep with a Mondeo Mark 5, great driver's car, but I think Mark 4 was a little better to drive. I don't know why. Mark 4 was a better car to drive, definitely. Mark 5 is not as good. It's much bigger and lumpier. Mike Conley says, thanks with lots of thumbs up, good man. What's the best crossover to buy around 25 grand now in Ireland? Crossover, how much of a crossover? Because there's BSUV, there's small crossovers, big crossovers, there's kind of in-between crossovers. The Irish car of the year this year is the Peugeot 3008. I have to recommend that. Second place to that was the Skoda Kodiaq. That's not really a crossover. The Kodiaq's a big car. Like 3008 is a crossover. Kodiaq is a big SUV. So I would say the Peugeot 3008 really crossover. Volkswagen Tiguan, really nice car as well. I didn't really like the Nissan Qashqai. If you're all thinking about Qashqais, it's the granddaddy of the whole segment, but it feels so old-fashioned inside now. It really does. It's only 3 or 4 years old, whatever it is, and it feels pretty old-fashioned. I'm sure there'll be a new one along at some point, and the new Leaf will be on the way as well. Of course, it's going to change everything. Marcus says, a few years ago, parents of a girl I fancied had a red Discovery, just like my dad's car. One day I got in the back of their car, started chatting to her mother, thinking she was mine. I died. Got in the back of a car with mother. Oh, that just jumped. Bob, would you recommend a 2010 Ford Mondeo as a daily driver, or great only if you do a lot of motorway driving? It'll be down to the engine, IGN Jack. If you're going to do a lot of driving, you're going to go for diesel, and if you go for diesel, Mondeo is going to be fine. If you go for petrol in a Mondeo, it's going to eat fuel on you, and that's the problem with it. Mondeo is actually really, really economical in diesel, but if you're not doing the mileage, a diesel is more expensive to run than its petrol equivalent, because if you take in the cost of servicing, the bigger insurance cost because of a bigger engine, the higher tax because of a bigger engine, all of these things, it actually works out that diesel is more expensive to run than a petrol over short distances. But 2010 Ford Mondeo, grand car, there's nothing wrong with it, but diesel for motorway long distance driving, petrol for if you occasionally use a motorway every day. So that's kind of the way it is. Salt and vinegar, the correct answer. You're right, Andy. There's a lot of speed cameras in Ireland. Is there a lot of speed cameras in Ireland? Not really. There's a lot of mobile speed cameras in Ireland. The one that Catch Me If You Can one, the one that parks beside the road, little van with a camera in the back of it. There's a lot of those run by a private company. Amazingly, a private company is allowed to keep all of our personal information on file in a filing cabinet somewhere in Spain. Isn't that crazy how that works out? They were given a license to do so. But run by Appliance Plus, same crowd that runs our NCT, but the speed cameras are few and far between outside of those ones. The rest of them are just kind of the Garda ones down the side of the road, or the guard with the gun on the side of the road, speed van guns. Mondeos have great engines, very reliable, you're right. What's the best driving road in Ireland? Is there one? The best driving road in Ireland is the one that you're on currently, where you're able to go a little bit quick. You'll find down the west, a lot of people go on about the west of Ireland are the best driving roads. Actually, they're really bloody narrow, and they're full of lads in Honda Civics going really fast. So they're not really that good. In fairness, the ones across the Midlands are pretty good. There's a couple of good driving roads up around Wicklow. It's all about the attitude, it's all about the mood you're in. If you want to drive fast, you should go to a track. If you want to drive safe, you should go to a track. If you want to have a nice cruise and a burbly V8, then away you go out on the road. But, keep it safe, though, because a lot of people get killed at night time at 2 o'clock in the morning hopping off walls because they're going too fast. Why do car manufacturers put AdBlue in 1 litre hatchbacks, Ford and VW? The normal owner won't know what their AdBlue cap is. Firstly, AdBlue is a rip-off at the petrol stations. What's the deal? AdBlue is urine, pig urine, basically, ammonia. So what it does is, when a diesel engine goes through its cycling process, so it goes down to what's called a DPF, which is a diesel particulate filter. That diesel particulate filter takes in the heavy particulates, and those heavy particulates sit in the diesel into that part of the system until the car reaches a temperature where it can burn the particulates again, so motorway. And what happens then after that is the AdBlue lowers the temperature that those particulates are burnt at. And so it's injected into the system, and the lower temperature means that those particulates burn at a much lower temperature, which means it doesn't need to go to the motorway to do it. The offset side of that, Shower, is a long-winded answer, but the offset side of that means your petrol tank gets a little bit smaller because they have to fit the AdBlue tank in somewhere, and it goes in around a petrol tank. And secondly, you won't know what it is until a big bastard light comes on the dashboard to tell you that you've run out of AdBlue. So it's a bit of a rip-off. You can buy it industrial size. There is a couple of outlets like Check's Mix Garage and things. They sell AdBlue. It doesn't have to be bought at a petrol station. But it is protecting the environment, seemingly. Hopefully it's doing something to the environment. With any luck, it'll be gone soon. It'll be all using just petrol and hybrid and electric, and that'll be the end of it. We won't worry about it. I fell behind there. I'm sorry. Make sure you click the like button. Click the like button so everyone knows this is happening and we get this big watch on today because we've had an awful lot of problems with our stream today. God damn it. Thoughts on the 2014 Focus? Don't really have any thoughts. Good, honest car. Boring, but honest. Check the spec very carefully. Check the build quality. I found a lot of Fords recently have squeaky wipers or a creaky dash or a creak somewhere in it, a flex within the car. The last couple of Fords I've had, I don't know whether that gets around it or not, but you know, check it out. There's plenty of other stuff in 2014 area. Volkswagen Golf would be a brilliant buy in that area as well. So don't be afraid of shopping around. Don't set your heart too heavy on a Ford Focus unless you're getting the best deal. Don't ask about the Tucson. We'll mess things up. Okay, don't ask about Tucson. Bob, your voice was spot on. I knew. Got 10 online quotes, all very high. Finally made one phone call to Zurich after a friend recommended it, and to beat all the other the other 10 by €150. Phone call is the best way ever because you can listen, you can make a relation, you can get a chat going. And if they're not willing to deal with you by phone or by whatever way it is, then don't deal with them. Don't think that filling in a form online is the be all and end all when it comes to getting insurance. You will always get a fully comprehensive, cheaper policy somewhere. You play one against the other, go back a few years. That's the way it used to be. I never shop for insurance online. I always sit down and pick up the phone and start ringing around all the insurance company and asking for the best quote. And my last statement to most of them is that your best price? And that's it. And if they go, yes, that's our best price, well, that's it. Goodbye. I'll be back in 20 minutes after I've rang everybody else. So Brian Cullen got his insurance for $388 fully comp. I think mine was around the same, and I insured my wife on the car as well. Not for insurance purposes, just because she drives it most of the time. So we're both insured on the same car, fully comprehensive. I think it's around 380 quid as well, something like that. I found AXA insurance this year to be one of the quickest, the nicest, and they've actually got offices as well. There's an office for AXA right here in the town. So it was quite nice to actually physically be able to go into an office if I wanted to. Hi Bob, I'm from sunny Scotland. Is it sunny in Scotland, Tom? Octavia 1.5 TSI, DSG or manual? DSG for the lazy, manual for the people who like to hit the clutch button. Depending on what part of Scotland you're in, I've been in Glasgow, I've been in Edinburgh, both of them are very busy cities, so you'll want a DSG there. If you're off out the country somewhere, it's not really going to matter. You're going to be cruising along in your 5th or 6th gear the whole time, so it won't really matter. DSG doesn't really go wrong these days. There was a big recall on them a few years back. There was a big push to try and get rid of DSG because it was giving trouble, but I don't think it happens much anymore. Whatever suits you really. The TSI engine is a great engine in a Skoda Octavia. The 1 litre is the most surprising engine I have driven in a Skoda Octavia ever, but might not suit you being up in Scotland. But the lovely part about those petrol engines is they heat up almost instantly, and on a cold morning, like I'm sure it was this morning in Scotland, it's lovely. Focus ST or Octavia RS? Octavia RS all day. If it was the Focus RS, different conversation, but Focus ST is not as good, nowhere near. Terrible torque steer out of that yoke. Really hard to drive on a normal day when you just want to drive home. Depending on how much fun you want to have in your trips. Octavia is more practical anyway as well. On the other end of that, Octavia has shopping bag hooks and tie downs and things in the boot that are useful and 5 proper seats, and the Focus is a bit smaller than that. Some of the best driving roads are surrounded by sheep. That is true. Cross the Curragh there, you'll have fun with the sheep, so always watch out for them. Them all sheep just walk out in front of you. They're as thick as 2 planks. I know, I was born in Kildare town. I know all about sheep and horses. Mondeo Mark V 2 litre TDCi PSA engine is one of the last car without the annoying AdBlue. Correct. Problem is the emissions are much higher in that, and that will be taxed to death in Ireland at some point. Bob, have you tried the Fabia 1.4 TSI? How does it compare with its rivals? Tony, thanks Tony for the question. The Skoda Fabia 1.4 is one of my all-time favourite cars. I drove a 1.4 Fabia all the way back from Lisbon in Portugal, across Spain, right through France, and all the way up, and took a ferry back to Ireland. And that was like 3 years ago, I think, 2 years ago. With Skoda we drove. Amazing journey. I have no problem, never had a problem recommending a Fabia for anybody. I would say to you to check out some of the more unusual coloured Fabias. There's a green one here in Portlaoise, and it looks deadly. It's like this really limey green colour. It's really good. You can check that one out, but I have no problem recommending Fabia 1.4 for anybody. Unless you're thinking Volkswagen, then go for Polo. The new Polo is quite nice. Bob, please tell me, God, someone's pleading with me already. Where is the area located on Mondeo Mark 4 facelift and Mark 5? I know it's invisible, but I'm afraid of getting radiated by the frequency of the radio and the GPS. I'll tell you where it is. It's in your back window. That's exactly where it is. If you look at your back window, you've got a heating element back there which heats up the rear window. But at the very top of the heating element, there's a kind of a slightly thicker line across the back window. That's actually your radio aerial. It used to be up on the roof, but it got taken off. Everybody's aerial got taken off by going through a car wash, so they got rid of them off the roof. Some car companies have moved them into the front window, down around where the cameras are, where the rear view mirror touches the window. There'll be cameras there, a box there attached to that. Some of that's radio areas, but usually these days is in the back window of a car. So you won't get radiated by anything in your car apart from your phone. It's your own phone that does that to you. Have enough phone calls up there, you get a brain tumor. That's a myth, or conspiracy theory or something. We'll be on Dundee later looking for a big thing. That's the way to do it. Get on Dundee. That's the way to get your stuff done. My strap keeper on my watch snapped. Also did this trick for the elastic band. Yeah, look, see, elastic band on the strap. That's what it's called, a keeper, if anybody wants to get one. They're hard to come by. They used to always break on G-Shocks. It never broke on my G-Shock. It's broke on this though. But I also smashed. I do probably want people to see it, but I smashed the screen on this, falling off a skateboard. I know it's a skateboard, but I was on a skateboard. What can I do? Hi Bob, loving the Sunday service. Good man. Brian, first time watching you live. Good lad. Would recommend a BMW 6 Series 2004 or 2008 as a future classic car. Whoa, that's a tough one. 2004 was an oddball. That would be the one that usually, if an odd car survives, it becomes the future classic. That's kind of the way with classics, the way they are. The more oddball it is, the better it is. So the older one of the two would be the odder looking one. It is a little bit odd. Great performance. If you can find a petrol one from 2004, you're going to be laughing. Great big engine in that, really cruisy to drive. Lovely thing on the inside, ugly as sin on the outside. That's exactly what makes future classics. 2008 isn't a bad car either. Didn't quite work out. The more modern ones, the newer ones, are gorgeous. I would buy a 6 Series Grand Coupe, which would be a beautiful thing, but you're probably not going to get it. Tom is from Edinburgh. Well done, you're in Edinburgh, so you definitely want the DSG then, Tom. Go for that one. Afternoon, Cesarn. Afternoon, there we're going. Bob, my sister's 2012 Kia Ceed, 50,000 miles, has a handbrake collapse and is now getting its steering column replaced. Does sound like a car with a history. They bought it second hand 2 years ago. 2012 Kia Ceed. My God, it must have been treated really hard, Tom. Or Brian. I don't really get that many complaints about Kias, in fairness. They have a 7-year warranty on them. I think that's only for the first owner, though. I have a feeling, I'm not too sure that the warranty swaps with the car. I'm sure it does, it passes on, but I'm not too sure how hard it's been treated. If it's been treated hard enough, and most Kias are, because people buy them because of the giant warranty on them. It's always worth taking advice when you're buying a car, really, even if you're buying from a dealer. It's always worth bringing someone who knows. I'm not talking about Paddy down the road who knows a little bit about a car. I'm talking about a person who actually does understand cars. Bob, thank you so much for your professionalism and kindness in doing this live session. No problem, Vladimir. Any time. Well, any Sunday. Apart from next Sunday. Oh yeah, next Sunday. I'm doing a half marathon next Sunday at 12 o'clock. If you follow me on Instagram, you head over to Instagram, just click open that little link there. Go over to Instagram. I'm at Bob Flavin on Instagram. Check out the stories. I will do live stories, and I'll try and do some sort of a live thing from the half marathon next week. So if I can hold myself upright for 21.5 kilometers, I will. I'll do a live stream. As diesel is on the way out, I love the way it's on the way out these days, Adrian. Is there any other fuel source being explored? There will be a eureka moment in the years ahead. Not sure electric is the full solution. No. Now, I'll tell you, there's a little story attached to it. It's a proviso attached to that. So hydrogen, as someone throws up every once in a while, goes, oh, hydrogen is the fuel of the future. Hydrogen it's very hard to store the bloody thing. It's very hard to make the thing as well. It's very expensive to make the thing. So for it to replace petrol, it needs to be a lot cheaper. Plus, hydrogen on its own won't power an engine. Hydrogen on its own charges a battery that powers the engine. So everything is about batteries. And you look at the way Tesla are going, and you can complain all you want about Tesla, but they are shining a light in that direction, that there isn't another way out, that it has to be electric. And I tend to agree. In 5-6 years' time, we're probably all going to be driving some form of hybrid electric car, and everything else would be just left over, like we are now with the old classic cars, the old petrols, the old diesels. And so I don't think whether diesel actually still has a future. It does, but it doesn't have the future it's got right now, which is like 99% or 95% of our Car park in Ireland is currently diesel. That cannot continue. Column F, RE Insurance. Had a house insurance renewed, and they are now asking similar questions to car insurance. Have you had any convictions, or not that you have any questions? It's very invasive. Yeah, insurance companies are in the business of making money. That's the main thing they're after. Now, the problem there is that in the means of making money, payouts are getting higher. So they ask things about flooding, they ask things about where you live, and I don't know about convictions or how you have convictions and worry about house insurance, I don't know. But I would imagine any sort of claims on your house insurance is going to drive it up. Insurance is a pain in the ass. Unfortunately, it is mandatory in Ireland to have car insurance. We haven't come up with a better solution. The solution in New Zealand, for instance, for car insurance is quite simple. They've added it to the fuel, so just to insure the car as well and not the person, which is, oh, that's so logical. Insuring the car, not the person, which means anyone who drives the car is insured. End of story. But you have a minimum level of insurance in New Zealand. It is like third-party fire and theft minimum. Just owning the car and putting fuel in it gets you that much. Then everything else is a bonus. So insurance is actually relatively cheap in New Zealand, not as much as it is here. Bob, have you visited the Skoda factory in Czech Republic? No, I haven't actually. I must get around to asking Skoda to do that. I like factories. I love going to the factories. So there's always a bit of crack going to a factory. I enjoy the kind of roaming around. But we'll eventually get around to the Czech Republic stuff. I'd love to go there, yeah. Not full electric just now. Hybrid is the way to go. Correct. At the moment, hybrid gives you the best of both worlds, so you should be okay with that. Peter Handy Motors, have you ever worked in the car world, Bob? I've always worked, nearly always. I was a purchase manager for a battery ministry for a while, which is just purchasing part numbers, but I used to be a store manager for a car outlet once upon a time. Buy in spare parts, oil filters, air filters, did mechanical work, did all sorts of stuff. So varying life, but nearly every job I've ever had has related in some way to the car industry. So I've nearly been employed by the car industry my whole life, yeah. RX-8, a future classic. RX-8 is now a classic right now and will continue to be a classic in the future because a lot of them are winding up as drift cars, which is a complete redesign at the front. You've got to change out all the suspension system. So they're evaporating very quickly. If you can lay your hands on an RX-8, get it and just put it in the garage and leave it there, and then buy yourself a second engine because you're going to need it later. Bob, your live chat is the best way to improve my English skill. Yeah, I know, I speak fast, so you got to keep up, you got to keep going, you got to keep watching. But click the like button. I have no idea how many likes I have currently. I can only see that there's 39 people currently watching this very second, and we've been streaming for 57 seconds. So we're doing okay. You can follow me on Instagram at Bob Flavin. You can follow me on Twitter if you want, at Bob Flavin as well. Don't bother with the Facebook thing. It's a pain in the hole. I don't really use it as much. I hate the thing. It's a very dismal hole of a place to go down. It's really bad for the brain, you know. There is some more video stuff coming up. I'm going back to the running video stuff as well. ASICS have been in touch with me to do stuff there, so there's a lot of that going on. So there'll be all kinds of stuff that's going to happen next while. Instagram is the linchpin to all of that, so you'll see what's happening live as the whole world sees it. And this every Sunday, obviously. So click the like button, click the subscribe button. You can click the super chat button if you actually want to donate some money directly through the YouTube system. You can go over to patreon.com and you can give money there, which is just as easy. You can subscribe for as little as £2 a month, even €1 a month. Anything. It makes a big difference to the channel because I am not sponsored by car companies. I don't get paid by car companies to review the cars. They do provide the cars to me, but that's as far as it gets. Lovely subscribers just appeared there on Instagram. Thank you very much, Paula. Thank you very, Paula. You're lovely. Very nice to have you aboard on Instagram and possibly here on YouTube too. You can click the subscribe button here as well if you want to. Sorry, I'm falling behind with my questions. When wee Bob was growing up, what dream car poster was on the bedroom wall, and did you ever get to drive one of them later on? I did, Andy. Yes, I had 2 dream cars on the wall. I had a Jaguar. What was the Jaguar? The Saints car. What the hell was the Saints car? Can't remember what it is now. Not terrible. It was a poster on the wall. And I had a Lamborghini Miura. And I had a Lamborghini Countach, both of which I got to drive. The Countach is a terrible, terrible, terrible car to drive, but brilliant, all in the same breath. Not designed for human beings to actually sit into. Tiny, my knees were in my ears. The The Saints car, which is a Jaguar, someone's going to say it in a second, the Saints car, which was a great car, really good, but had terrible bad suspension on the back, so it was good as well. And the Lamborghini Miura was really nice. I would love to still have the Lamborghini Miura, but I don't. What's the best electric car to buy? Gary, hold fire. Electric cars are going to be an absolute stack of the things hitting the market any moment. The new Nissan Leaf looks very interesting. If you're on a budget, buy Generation 1 Nissan Leaf. You'll get them for about €3,000 at the moment, even less maybe. If you really want to go down the electric route and you're going to buy a brand new car, the Hyundai Ioniq at the moment has incredible range and doesn't look too much like an electric car. It's not all bells and whistles and things. The Volkswagen Golf is a tiny bit pricey and is very subtle, so it doesn't look like an electric car at all. It just looks like a Golf, but it's very clever, good range on as well, and easy to use. The one I would probably pick currently, if you ask me right now to buy a car today, I'd probably buy a Golf. The e-Golf or Golf e-Golf. Curious whether you felt a big difference between the 530e and the standard 5 Series regarding weight bearing. In mind, it's almost a ton heavier. Not really, Aaron. Fuel economy is a bit of a weird. You don't really feel the weight. They've balanced it nicely under the floor. It does feel a more solid, more grounded car when you're driving it. It doesn't feel as flighty. It actually feels like a more luxurious experience in general. I would certainly give the 530 top marks in the electric hybrid bearing weight of area. Plenty of room in it, although you do lose a little bit of boot space. But other than that, I had no problems with it at all. A smart car or a push bike, which offers better performance? Walk, Lee. Or run. Buy a push bike. Don't buy a smart car. They're pretty ropey. Unless you live in Rome, unless you live in a city where parking is impossible, don't buy a smart car. You go to Italy or go to Rome, you go to Barcelona even, you see places like that where you see 4 or 5 of these little smart cars parked in 2 or 3 car spaces. It's absolutely brilliant, but driving it in Ireland or driving it in England, no, you'll be run over by something. Something will kill you. Buy a push bike. At least you look, no CO2 unless you fart a lot. And you're human powered, so it's the best kind of environmentally friendly thing to do. Hydrogen embrittlement is the death knell for that tech. You'll have to explain that one to me, Sean. Don't know what that means. Or Kia to confirm, the handbrake and the steering column are all being done under the warranty. Oh, well, nice, I like that. Yeah. So Kia, well done, Kia. Excellent work, Kia. Handbrake and steering column falling apart on a Kia Ceed 2012, still under warranty, been traded even though it's the third owner of the car and still under warranty, still been done under warranty, so brilliant work, Kia. See, I don't really get really that many complaints about Kia. The hydrogen gas permeates the metal connectors and makes them crumble. The temperature doesn't help. Aha, right, gotcha. I know what you mean. So hydrogen is really, it's the temperature differences between what a car needs to do and what hydrogen needs to do is very high. So it's a total rethink of fuels. About car housing insurance market, EU competition could help. Yeah, well, to get insurance in this country, the office of the insurance company has to exist in this country. That's the way insurance works, even though we're in the EU. You can't just ring up to France and go, we insure my car here in Clonbelow. Thanks. Brian, perhaps the Ceed is the old Top Gear test car. It could actually be the old reasonably priced car. I used to live in the Netherlands and my car insurance there was for the vehicle and the policy offset against the vehicle and the policy holder. It meant that anyone with EU licence could drive it. That's the way it should be everywhere, Andy, but we are in the dark ages in this country and of course lobbyists in this country from the insurance industry don't help. They always go up straight up to the lobbyists section. I'm sure there's such a thing and they talk about what they want from the insurance company and the normal people don't get a look in. You can click the like button if you don't mind. It'd be brilliant. There's currently 33 of you watching concurrently, but my concurrent streams are much higher than that, which is brilliant, which means some people are coming, some people are going, and that's okay. I can live with that. Same insurance system as in France, is Russ. Yeah, you're right. The Salt drove a Volvo P1800. Volvo P1800 is a real proper collector's item. There's not many of them left. They're starting to go up in price quite a bit. Bob, did you pre-order a Model 3? If I had enough money to buy a Model 3, I would buy an Audi. Terrible. I've signed picture of that Volvo by Sir Roger himself. Have you? No way. That's a beautiful car. Beautiful car. R.I.P. Roger Moore. He is dead, isn't he? Yeah, he is, I think. Ian Ogilvy Saint drove an XJS. There you are. I had an XJS on the wall. I had an XJS on the wall because of the Saint, rather than being a good car. That's why I had it on the wall. The cheapest Leaf on Dundee is... Oh, I missed that. On Dundee is 7 grand. Really? Well, it's probably a little bit more modern. Depends. You know, the price is going to rise because I've said that a few times now about getting a cheap Nissan Leaf. Was the only Saint. Roger Moore was the only Saint. You're right. Roger Moore is the best Saint of all times. Bob, why is there no 2-litre diesels in an i40 and Optima? I don't know. Did it do a 2-litre diesel? I don't know. Couldn't tell you. You'd have to ask Hyundai that for some reason. Or ask Kia that. Optima. Did I not drive a 2-litre diesel Optima? I can't remember. Hi Bob, did you look into that Fleet app? If so, what do you think? I did, Paul, but you have to sign up to the thing, so I didn't really use it all that much, because you sign up and give credit card details and sign up with Facebooks and all sorts of crap, so I didn't bother with it. If anybody throw me an account for Fleet app, it's called, basically it's short-term rental of your car, but it's your car, so my lay-on outside, I could put it on the system and people can hire it for a couple of days and just use it. So it seems like an interesting idea. I don't know how insurance lives with that. I don't know how the rest of the system works around the edge. If something actually happens to the car, somebody steals it and drives it into a cliff or off a bridge or something, I don't know what happens then. But because it's probably the same thing as hiring your own car. Joseph says, Bob, you're a really friendly person. You talk so simple without attitude. I've seen some YouTubers showing so much attitude when they're on live, but you're a simple guy. Correctamundo. I tend to treat the live Sunday service as sort of a radio show. So the idea that at some point someone's going to listen to this, because after the very first week, a lot of people said that they were listening to it as a live stream in their car, just listening rather than watching it. So I've always tried to be as open with that as I possibly can. And because I do radio present quite a bit these days. I do a lot of radio presenting stuff. I got used to doing it that way, so I've always done it that way. So I don't really mind. I'm not into the whole attitude thing. I think I'm too old to have an attitude. I'm too old to care at this stage. Really am. Don't care. Just don't care. Insurance isn't the most international companies' offices in Ireland gets insurance. So yes, they do have to have an office in Ireland to insure a car in Ireland. As far as I'm aware, I'm nearly sure that's true. Monteo Mark IV facelift, do you find it reliable? The titanium version seems outstanding in terms of quality. Yes, Mondeo. I've a lot of Ford questions there. No problem with Ford Mondeo. I think they're a great car. Just make sure you get the right engine in it, and all the servicing is up to level. The warranty isn't very long on them, I don't think. About insurance, when can I expect to be able to afford to insure a decent sized older petrol car? Is it purely age, or does experience even count much? I'm 19 now. Until you're about 25, Aaron, I'm afraid they're going to try and rip you off. This happens a lot. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't singling out you or your age group. I went through it as well. Same thing. First insurance I ever had in the car, I bought a Datsun Nissan Cherry. I was 17 years old. I bought the car for €100, £100. It was an absolute piece of crap, but my insurance was €2,573. I found a receipt the other day. I kept the receipt for some strange reason. And I had to pay it off over, I think, 6 or 8 months or something. And that was third-party fire and theft, so it was the lowest possible insurance I could get. The following year, I think that dropped down to about £2,000, and then I turned 20 and it started to drop off a little bit more. Then it drops off every single year till it became more affordable. Insurance currently has never been as cheap for older generations, which is why the younger generation get ripped off. Do you have a VW Arteon video coming, Bob? Turmeric yellow. I don't think it was. No, it wasn't. It was silver. The one I have was silver. It wasn't turmeric yellow. I've driven the turmeric yellow one. It's really nice. Arteon is very nice. Beautiful car. The diesel engine I had seemed like it was down on power. It just didn't seem like it had that as much get up and go in it. It's a cruiser. It's a sort of a coupe type thing. I don't know why people want it. I suppose if you're not into the Passat look, you want to have something a little bit more kind of snazzy. You go after the Arteon. It's a lovely car, really, really nice car. Really, I drove it down to Galway and back. It was a really pleasant thing. And there is a video coming, it's just not the turmeric yellow one. Decent size engine. What's a decent size engine though? I mean, what do you want to do? Drive a V8 Mustang or something? Aaron, it depends on what you want to get and how you want to do it and what you're trying to achieve. Engines are getting smaller and smaller. I drove to 1 litre, many 1 litres this last 12 months, and they've been gorgeous little fast things. 115 horsepower, they're great. So engine size isn't as much a big problem as the price of the car itself. Finally, much more likes than viewers. Yeah, I know. I don't mind about the like things. Great. It's just when you click the like button, people get a notification that you've liked a video, and they come and they watch the video. That's all it is, really. You can subscribe here if you wouldn't mind, especially if it's your first time here. There's a subscribe button down below. Click the like button. You can also give money on Patreon. Patreon is a place that has been giving me a little bit of money every while. Every once in a while, I buy something new from it, always to do with the channel. Clamps, things like these little clamp things that go around a phone, mics, power cables, connectors, other cameras, all sorts of other things have to be bought. I have loads of plans for things to do in the future. I'm going to try and do a Kickstarter later on in the year to do a world record attempt, which hopefully will work. You can support that and be part of that. Some of the guys have been donating money on Patreon for months now. It's been brilliant, but I'd love to increase that. Still only 14 people on Patreon. It'd be lovely to get a little bit more than that. It's not much, you know. It's €2 or €3 or €4 a month. Loads of people have ad blockers on YouTube, so really YouTube money is very, very small comparatively speaking, compared to some of the bigger channels that get millions of hits on it. And every other car YouTube type channel out there is a big business. So it's owned by I&M, or it's owned by CPG, or it's owned by someone out there is a big part of their business. So they sell their videos in essence. They not necessarily the car companies, but they sell them in essence. So it'd be deadly if you could get. Anyway, there's also Super Chat here on YouTube, which no one's ever used. I've never used it either. Don't get me wrong, you're not alone, so I haven't used it either. No problem, Joseph. Bob, I mean, Ireland is known to be a tax paradise, so surprising EU companies not here too. Yeah, I know, but the tax is tax. It's not really a paradise here. That's just a kind of a myth. If you want to see a paradise, go over to Jersey, where they pay no corporation tax at all of any kind, without anything. Millions of companies all registered to one address. Current insurance is $3,800 on a 17-year-old Mazda 323F hatch. Third party, I'm sure they could give less than the code. Third party and fully comprehensive tends to be about the same. There's usually only a couple of €100 difference between them. You're lucky to be able to insure a 17-year-old Mazda 323F. If I sold my car tomorrow, there'd be only 3 years left where the person could insure it. They don't insure these older cars. They will insure it forever for the current owner, but if I was to sell that, I probably won't ever insure it again. First time I attended YouTube Live, brilliant experience, much better. Don't forget to subscribe if it's your first time here. Much better than they get when they're seen after the fact in the subscription feed. Yeah, it is. When it's live, you can ask questions. I know I've attended a few other people's lives just to see what they're like when other people go live. Most of them are insanely boring. YouTubers sitting there going tapping. And that's it. No interaction. I hate it. Absolutely pain in the hole. Let me ask a question, nobody gets an answer. I try and answer every single question. That's why I'm here so long. 1 hour and 12 minutes gone. And it's actually like 2 hours nearly since I started, because of all the catastrophe of YouTube not bothering us to do anything. Damien O'Kelly from Enfield was in the news last year, having gotten car insurance in Ireland from Zurich, Germany. Not sure if that was a loophole thing or not. I shall check that out. I don't know, Andy, for sure. I'm sure under EU law you should be able to do this, but I have a feeling you have to have some sort of registered office in Ireland to do it. Lots of power potential in small engines taken to the extreme. 1 litre road sport bikes are around 180 horsepower. Race bikes in the 230 brake horsepower mark. Yeah, short lifespan, Ross, but yes, you're right. There is a lot of technology going into small turbos at the moment for petrol engines, so it'd be absolutely brilliant. If they can get the fuel economy, the emissions down, and still give us kind of at least some sort of get out of bed pressure in the morning, it'd be nice. Bob, what do you think about the new controversial front design of Octavia after facelift? Maybe it's not ugly, but I think it's ahead of our time. I actually like it. The 4 headlight thing, I don't have a problem with that. I think it's okay. I didn't really have a problem with it all along. It's not as nice as it used to be. It is a little bit more Marmite-y, but I don't really have a problem with that. It looks fine to me. Afternoon, Bob. I know manufacturing companies are steering towards EV cars, so do you think the big engine cars are dead in the water from now on? No, I don't. I think engine technology is getting better and better and better, and we will eventually get back to the point where a big engine is much more efficient on a motorway at higher speeds, by far. So electric cars aren't very efficient on motorways. They really aren't. if you want to drain an electric car very quickly, just drive down a motorway for a while, because you never slow down. You're always using cruise control to keep you going. That cruise control just constantly drains the battery down. So EV cars still have a little bit further to go, but they're nearly there. But big engine cars still have a place, especially as a collector's item. Bob, why did I stop having car shows in the RDS? Seems to be well attended. It was, and that was the problem, Brian. But the biggest problem was what was coming to the car shows was stuff from dealerships. To hold a car show, you have to have some sort of monetary support. People don't do it for the crack. I'd love to host a car show here in Ireland, but I wouldn't be interested in the money from it. But the problem was when you have all the dealerships turning up and taking a stand there, people are coming to a car show expecting to see something they wouldn't see at a dealer or see down the road, whereas the dealer was just sending the sales guys. There was the car show there, a motorbike show there recently in the RDS. That was pretty good. I thought that was pretty good. But I'd love to host a car show. Maybe the Sunday service could host a car show. If anyone's got any ideas with that, get in touch with me. Bob Flavin at thenextgear.com. I need a big space, big open space, and somewhere maybe February, March next year, something like that. It seems a long way off, but a lot of the cars that I'd want to come to the show would be going into storage around this time of the year. Bob, are you also a bike guy? I just saw the new Kawasaki H2 SX. I love looking at bikes. I don't know anything about them though. So there's a few guys in the country that do know an awful lot. Michael Sheridan would be one of them. Tony Toner would be another one. Dave Humphreys would be another one. They're motorbike guys. And Justin Delaney, for instance, would be another motorbike guy. I wouldn't know an awful lot about motorbikes. So if you get in touch with one of those guys, they're all on Twitter. I'm sure they help you out with motorbike stuff. Bob, what drone do you use nowadays? I use a Mavic Pro, the original Mavic Pro. It's absolutely brilliant. It's called Zippy. It zips around the sky quite regularly for me. I absolutely love the thing. It's brilliant. I treat it as another camera rather than just as a drone. And it's worked out brilliantly. It really does raise up the level of everything that I do as much as I possibly can. But it takes support. That thing was €1,700, like crazy money. The investment level has been absolutely huge. So to get that back out of it is also a big effort. Like I'm alone, I don't get advertising or nothing like that. Nobody pays money to support this channel other than you guys, which has been brilliant. You guys do that over on Patreon. You find Bob Flavin over there. You can also do Super Chat here if you really want to do Super Chat. I don't know what happens when you click Super Chat. I'm sure someone will tell you eventually. There is another one for driving lessons list. First bike lesson. I'd love to do that as well. Yeah, that's been offered to me once before. I think the guys in Harley Davidson in Dublin were going to do something with me there at one point. But we just kind of ran aground because I have to go and get licenses and get, provisional licenses and then kit. There's nothing more expensive in this world. Do you know, to ride a motorbike in Ireland legally, you need a motorbike, you need a license, you need tax and insurance, you need a helmet, and you need a tabard. A yellow tabard. So basically you could ride the motorbike naked apart from the yellow tabard and the helmet. But actually you need to do it safely, you need to spend about €5,000 on kit, on decent kit to ride safely in Ireland. So it ain't like, it's not a small investment. That's why older guys tend to be the ones that actually ride the motorbikes. Bob, did you read recently VW aren't so happy with Skoda's success and they want to change Skoda's higher prices for their VW gear? I made about this a few weeks ago. Yep, Brian, you're absolutely true. Skoda has been beavering away in the background. I think some of that might have been a press release thing in that Volkswagen want to draw your attention to Skoda existing. It'd be nice to think that Skoda and Volkswagen would go, side by side, but they are actually against each other. So is Seat, so is Audi. They all compete in the same area. So there's always some crazy section to it. But Skoda tend to be a little bit more. Hey, look at that, Sean. Sean, you are so cool, man. Sean just gave me €2 by a super chat. I've never seen that before. That's really good. Thank you very much, Sean. It's very, very generous. I don't know what's supposed to happen now, but you come up and this big blue thing comes up at the bottom of the screen to say that he did that. So that was really good. Thank you very much. I'd like to see Skoda do well. It does well here in Ireland. It does well generally Europe-wide. They have big plans. They're a really small little company. They work very, very hard. Their PR people are brilliant. The lads here in Ireland are absolutely exceptional. And the guys overseas that I meet all the time are absolutely incredible as well. So they work very, very hard at what to do. Volkswagen do as well. But Volkswagen has all the purse strings. Bob, how fast did you ever drive on German Autobahn, of course? I did in a video, I think. No, that wasn't in video. I drove an Audi A6 all-road down the Autobahn at very, very high speeds and filmed some of that. But I've actually driven faster than that as well. So I think it was 250 or 260 or something kilometers an hour. I don't know exactly. You're too busy looking out the front window. The drone is way cheaper than a helicopter charter companies. Correct. Yes, that is true. But the drone has been fantastic. Don't get me wrong. It's just investment level. Everything is an investment level. The investment and return level is the thing. It takes so long to come and get something from it. Andy McAfee is just given £2 over there. Thank you very much, Andy McAfee. Second, he was second. Sean and Ebel was first. You're so good. Thank you so much. It's always good crack to see how things happen. Someone's ringing me. WhatsApp audio. Phil Hederman. If you're watching Phil Hederman on YouTube somewhere, you ring somebody else. Hi Sean and Abel, can I give you my house address? Brian, don't put your house address up on YouTube. Thanks very much. The €5,000 kit is nothing for the performance and safety. You're right. I know. Absolutely, you're absolutely right. Spending €5,000 on safety kit for riding a motorbike is nothing compared to what it would save you when you come off the bike. Because like if you're riding around in a pair of tracksuit bottoms and a denim jacket and a leather, you're still legally okay, but you're going to die and it's going to hurt. I might get €2. Brian, I got €2. I have £2 and €2. I got £4. No, I have £2. I have four quid or something. And that was great. It was really good of you to give money. That's never happened before. I don't even know how that gets paid now. I haven't a clue. I don't know if that goes into YouTube monetization or something. I suppose it does. YouTube has your money now, lads. Bob, looking at getting a 171 Renault Megane GT 1.6 petrol. Seems like a cracker with a 205 horsepower. What's your thoughts? It is a cracker, absolutely. Renault Megane is a lovely, lovely car. Really is a very nice car to drive. Never too... if you want to donate, just click the super chat button at the bottom there. There's a big S with a $ sign on it. Click that thing and it takes you into the super chat system. I don't know what happens after that, but I'm sure the YouTube are very good at experience taking money off you, so they'll take it. Renault Megane's a grand car. Just watch if you're looking at 171. So you know, be careful how that's been treated. They tend to be treated quite hard because they're a racy car. So check it out. Make sure you're buying it from a Renault dealer with a bit of experience. But I have no problem recommending the Renault Megane GT 1.6 petrol. Plenty of choice in that segment. Be very cautious with your money. If you don't like what you see, walk away as always. To the bikers on this, here's over-asked question. What's the best starter bike? God love us. Here we go. I need to get Dave Humphries on here or something, don't we? Is that what needs to happen? I'll get Michael Sheridan. We'll get Michael Sheridan on. Michael Sheridan used to be on TV. He was on a few years back. He used to do Bull Island and all that sort of stuff. But I'll get him on. He can talk about motorbikes at some point. A starter bike would be something a little bit lower horsepower maybe. And something you wouldn't mind rolling, you know, because you're probably going to crash in the first year. I don't mean crash in a big way. I mean like fall over, you know, on a corner or something and slide out. So you want something that's easy to repair, not with a lot of fairings and very expensive stuff. There's Powell, you're very good. Look at that, 10 whatever currency that is, you're very good. Thank you very much. Someone just gave us 10 PLN. What's a PLN? It's like €1 million or something, is it? Those are the big bikes. You will crash in the first year, says Sean. Thank you very much, Paul. You're very good. Renault won't hold its value so good, though. I never really think about buying a car for how much it's going to be worth on the way out. If you did that, you just buy a cash guy forever, you know. Bob, thoughts on an Audi A4 1.4 TFSI petrol? Brilliant engine. Absolutely brilliant engine. Audi A4 tends to be a little bit tighter in the back seat than I like for that kind of a car. Have a look at the Audi A3 Saloon 1.4 TFSI because it's about the same size in the back seat, but it's a little bit of a prettier dress on the outside of it. But I've no problem saying 1.4 TFSI is one of the best engines that Volkswagen currently make. It has that cylinder on demand system. It works perfectly. Really clever system. You can buy them in automatic, you can buy them in manual. They're just as good. Automatic tends to have a little bit of an edge for the Audi stuff, but a really, really good car. That was for Brian Crowley. Thank you very much, Brian, for the question. Andy says, bike plus a big spill of gravel in the middle of a bend in a road, proper boots and leathers, legs still attached by some skin. Less than race boots and leathers would have been a real pain that day. Absolutely 100% behind you. Motorbikes ridden properly are very, very safe, very natural thing for people to do, but all it takes is an idiot on the corner, and when you're going down, you want to make sure you got the leathers, you got the whole ankle, you know, the protectors, the little lump things on the ankles and on the elbows and knuckles and stuff. It's very important stuff, guys. Even at lower speed, you can get your skin ripped off, and I guarantee, 10 weeks hanging around with road rash burns, and I had them recently. I fell off a skateboard and got road rash all the way up my arm, and it wasn't bloody funny, that's for sure. You're very good. That's brilliant. 10 PLN is 250. That's very good. I'm delighted. Whatever people want to put in is absolutely brilliant. I'm delighted for the super chat thing to be actually working. It's great that it is actually here in Ireland. Never had it before. You can also give, if you want to give regular money, you can go over to patreon.com and give as little as €2 a month. That supports the channel. Fivers, a tenner, whatever it is. Whatever you can give. You don't have to give anything. If you can't afford and you just want to watch the stuff, that's fine. That's okay. They will always remain free. I'll never try and monetize this channel in that respect. But I would love to be able to get support, and I've kit and equipment to buy. And of course, these videos cost a bleeding fortune to make. Hi, Bob. Big fan. Thanks, Vincent. I'm very Vincent HD. Check him out. £2 equates to, I don't know. Lads trying to work out the currency there for me. You're very good. 663 so far, says Sean O'Neill. But thanks, Sean. That's brilliant. So I've got 663 so far from this, and hopefully YouTube will actually monetize this video, not like earlier on today. Russ, great idea keeping the license. Good lad. Thanks, Russ. Helmet must have been certified to race sticker, otherwise no sale. Certification is not always the best way. I remember working in a car dealership, a car parts place years ago, and we brought it. This guy came in and he wanted to sell motorbike helmets in the shop. And he had CE certification on the back of it, and he had all this sort of stuff. And when I checked it out, CE certification is just basically a plastic helmet. I get that, yoke. It was the worst. That was the minimum, the pure minimum of things. And so we wouldn't sell the helmets. But we ended up selling this other one, which had this flip up top. It was quite nice. Brian Cullen just donated 10 million Zimbabwean dollars. Hello, could I have your bank account details? CE is no good. You're right, Sean. Absolutely no good. Note loves the pet hate of mine on bikers almost as much as those who wear shorts. Yeah, you see it a lot over when I go to Barcelona, I go to Spain or Portugal or something like that. You see a lot of the young kids out on little scooters, and they got their shorts and t-shirts on. They got a helmet on the back of their head. It's not even connected to anything. And you know, that's how you end up dead, guys. That's just, you know, your sole purpose in life as an automotive person is to have fun, get where you want to go, but get there alive and safe. That's what we're all about. So it's important to take the proper precautions, whether it be a motorbike or a car. You got to look after yourself in the car. There's nothing worse than that phone call that comes from the guards, or someone turn up at the door going, you know, I have terrible bad news for you. Your son or daughter, your uncle, your aunt, your brother, your husband, your wife has been involved in a crash. That's not a call you ever want to get. So look after yourself, and look after your car and your vehicle, and look after your tires and all that sort of stuff. So it's vitally important that you have the right kit to ride a motorbike, you know, and be proactive with that kit, and look after it. Don't put your helmet down upside down on the ground. Don't be sitting on your helmet. You know, you hand your helmet over to someone else and they put it down on the ground on its lid. Don't do that either. This is all simple stuff, but you know, protecting each other is the stuff we do in our little community. It's very important. Definitely agree with even more 100 passengers that carry without protective stuff. Yeah, I know. I see a rider of the bike and he's got every sort of kit that ever possibly existed, and the passenger in the back has nothing. That's always funny. Super chat, brilliant. That's really good. That's really weird to see. Anyway, Done Deal has plenty of Honda CB500s, Kawasaki Z900 is a beautiful machine. Comes restricted from the factory with a proper cert and your insurance. Cool. Look after your car and look after you. Correct. My 11-year-old Seat Leon starts and goes every single day, and I've looked after that as best I could over all the years. Costs a bloody fortune these days, though. Tax is breaking my hole, as per usual. Bob, what do you think about the consumer lease where you pay only some low base and mileage fee? I know what you mean. Yeah, it's like PCP, or it's like, you know, you restrict on mileage, like renting a car or whatever. Interesting. If you don't like cars and you don't need a car 99% of the week, like if you look at how many miles your car actually does, there's a great story a few months back by a mate of mine, Eddie Cunningham, in the Indo. A woman who had a car in Dublin and sold it and has saved herself something like 1,800 or 2 grand a year on costs, just rents the car whenever she wants it. So she pays this kind of nominal small fee and then just pays for the car as she sees it. She's none of the running costs, nothing. She just puts petrol in it and goes. When something goes wrong, she hands it back and it's done. Brilliant. It's a brilliant idea if you can make it work. Pain in the hole though, because like the car's not going to be outside your front door. You're going to have to go to get the car. If you ride your motorcycle, be prepared to be a defensive rider. Otherwise, you're guaranteed to have a serious accident sooner or later. I don't know. I don't ride motorbikes, so I can't really answer that question. But I'm sure we can get somebody on the stream at some point to answer that question for you. I will try and get Michael Sheridan or Tony Toner to come along. I'd say Dave Humphries will be a bit busy, or same as the rest of the boys who do motorbikes in the country. I'm sure to be up to their neck and stuff, trying to get and do cars as well. But I know one of the other lads might be around and answer your questions about motorbikes, because I don't know how to do that. Well, I do. I know motorbikes, but I don't ride them, so I'm not really into it in that respect. Right. That has been 1 hour and 29 minutes, but it is actually 4 p.m, so it's been 2 hours since I started, and I got to go. I got to put the dinner on and do all that sort of stuff, which is normally a thing as well. Do you have a target time for your half marathon next week? I do. I hope to do it 2 hours. If I could do it, if I did 1 hour, 59 minutes and 59 seconds, I would be over the moon, because my last time that I did was 2 hours and 18 minutes or something. So I'd really like to get under 2 hours, because it'd be brilliant if I could. I don't know if I will or not. I'd be really happy if I just finished. If I could go around without ever having to stop. And I don't, in fairness. I've done 4 half marathons last year, and I only walked in one of them. So I should be okay at that. Bob, higher in Spain, online quotes are from €2 a day. Can this be possible? Not really. It's probably a matchbox of some sort. It's probably €2 a day if you hire it for 14 days or something crazy like that. If you want it just for a day, it probably costs nothing, or probably costs nothing near that. It's got to be more than that. €2 a day sounds ridiculous. Anyway, what's for dinner? It is chicken thighs. I have chicken thighs. I'm going to put them into a little bit of a marinade and put them into the oven for maybe an hour or so, and have some rice or something with them. I don't know what carbs I want this week. I'm trying to keep an eye on the carbs and things that are coming in. Okay, what do you think about the lease car instead of buying it? I mean, private leasing. Again, same problem exists. Leasing is brilliant, but usually leasing means you have to lease 3 or 4 cars, so you need to be a business to do it, to make the lease happen. Unless you go PCP, which is personal contract plan, which means you can buy the car, you put a deposit on it, you lease it for 3, not really lease it, but technically you're leasing it for 3 years, then you pay off the end. So one or the other, but I always prefer to kind of own my car. So just the way I've been for years, or at least own 75% of the car, so if a car is 10 grand, you want to pay maybe 7 to 8 grand of that in cash, and then the rest can be financed, but I prefer to own that kind of at least 75% of the car. Is our government taking the move to EV seriously? No, absolutely not. No. The government is taking about tax. That's what they take seriously, not EVs. They don't care. Green Party cares because they're not in power. That's why the Green Party care. They want to be in power. When they get in power, they'll stop caring about it again. But currently, our government does nothing to help EV unless they're being told by the SIMI or by some lobbyist group. Great, informative, entertaining live service today. Thanks to everyone for the input. You're brilliant. Thanks, Russ. Winner, chicken dinner. Absolutely, Andy. Thanks, Father Bob, for the great Sunday service. You've been brilliant, Brian. Well done, Bob. Great show. Best of luck with your run. Thank you very much, Peter Handy Motors. Good to see some of the dealers here. I know loads of you are dealers. Sorry if I'm insulting dealers, but I know loads of dealers come and visit this. It'd be absolutely brilliant to have you here next week, if I can do next week. But unfortunately, I have that half marathon to do. So if you want, you can follow me on Instagram. Is definitely the best way to follow me at the moment. Check out @Bob Flavin. Thank you very much to the super chatters who have donated money today. Sean O'Neill Budd, Andy McAfee, and Powell Lichua has donated money today through our super chat system. If you can go over to Patreon. There's a link down below for the Patreon thing. Give like £2 a month, or a £5 a month, or a £10 a month for a single month, or 2 months, or 3 months. If you can, it'd be brilliant. Anyone who can, it'd be absolutely fabulous if you could. If you can't, you want to do a single thing, you can do it over on what's that thing called, PayPal, and go over there and click that link, which is bobflav@thenextgear.com, and you give a single version out there. and that makes life very easy. But until the next time we see each other again, I will see you on the far side.